She climbed Japan's sacred Mount Fuji when women were forbidden. Sand, the world forgot her. Let's uncover her story. In 1832, a young woman named Tatsu Takayama defied law, custom, and danger to stand atop a mountain no woman was allowed to climb. This isn't just a mountain story, it's a tale of courage, devotion, and a society that tried to erase her achievement, and the lessons from her climb still resonate today about bravery, equality, and breaking barriers that were once thought unbreakable. To understand her bravery, we first need to understand Mount Fuji in Itawara, Japan. Rising 3,776 meters, it wasn't just a mountain. It was a deity, a god. It was worshipped as a symbol of purity, endurance, and nature's raw power. Pilgrimages to its summit were a sacred duty, but only for men. A doctrine called Nyanin Kansei, meaning no women, was strictly enforced. Why? Women were considered ritually impure, tainted by menstruation and childbirth, and their presence was thought to defile the sacred mountain. Temple patrols and checkpoints made sure this ban was upheld. Most women could only experience the pilgrimage symbolically, by climbing small man-made replicas of the mountain called Fujizu, but not all accepted this. A small, progressive group within the Fuji-kei religious sects quietly opposed these restrictions. And this is where our story truly begins, with a 24-year-old woman named Tatsu Takayama. We don't know every detail of her life, but we know she was connected to one of these Fuji-kei sects in the Kanto region. She was described as deeply spiritual and fiercely courageous. From a young age, she watched male climbers, studying their techniques, learning their roots. Her motivation wasn't just personal ambition. She wanted to challenge the societal norms that held women back and inspire them to believe they were just as worthy. She saw the climb as both a spiritual quest and a powerful personal statement. She knew the risks, punishment, even exile, but her devotion to the mountain deity was stronger than her fear. She began to prepare, not just for the brutal physical challenge, but for a journey of stealth and endurance. Her plan required a complete transformation. To pass as a man, Tatsu cut her hair short. She wore a Benkei-style horned kimono, which was wider at the shoulders to hide her figure, and wrapped herself in dark, coarse fabric to blend into the shadows. She minimized her equipment to avoid suspicion. Trust was everything, so she chose her companions carefully. She was accompanied by 3 male disciples, including a 24-year-old Fuji-kei priest named Sanshi, who led the secret ascent. They were her protectors, her guides, and the keepers of her secret. They would not report her. They set out before dawn in late October, the air cold and crisp. Tatsu wore simple straw sandals with cotton tabi socks, completely inadequate by today's standards. She carried only the essentials: rice balls for sustenance, talismans for spiritual protection, and a flint to make fire. The climb was punishing. The rocky terrain quickly gave way to snow and ice. Freezing winds tore at their clothes and skin. With limited food and water, the risk of frostbite and exhaustion was immense. But this was more than a physical test, it was a pilgrimage. They passed through sacred torii gates, marking the threshold to the divine, performing quiet rituals for protection along the trail. Tatsu's climb was an act of devotion, not conquest. She and her companions had to navigate unstable ground and avoid other pilgrims who were completely unaware of her true identity. They constantly watched for authorities patrolling the mountain, ready to disappear at a moment's notice. Finally, after a grueling ascent, she reached the summit. There was no celebration, no fanfare. Tatsu bowed her head in humility and gratitude. Her achievement was recorded not in a public announcement, but quietly, on a Fuji-kei scroll that noted a woman born in the year of the dragon had reached the peak. She had become the first documented woman to ever stand atop Mount Fuji. The descent was just as perilous. Exhausted and still shrouded in secrecy, she relied on her companions to guide her safely back to the base. She had returned, but her world hadn't changed. Her story remained hidden for over a century. The official records were kept in obscure Fuji-kei archives. And while her family privately preserved her memory, the oral traditions faded over generations. Early historians, often writing from a male-dominated perspective, completely overlooked her feat. Her climb didn't immediately change the rules. The Nyanin Kansei ban remained firmly in place. Some superstitious locals even blamed misfortunes, like bad weather or poor harvests, on her transgression, believing a woman had angered the mountain god. While a few brave women tried to follow in her footsteps, they remained rare outliers. It wasn't until the 1860s that things began to shift, when a British woman, Fanny Parks, climbed the mountain, and her ascent gained international attention. This, combined with the modernization of the Meiji era, finally led to the ban being officially lifted in 1872. Today, thousands of women climb Mount Fuji every year, many completely unaware of the woman who first paved the way. Her story was almost lost forever, until the 1980s, when historians Kichiro Iwashina and Hiroshi Okada uncovered the Fuji scrolls and family records that confirmed her incredible achievement. They rediscovered a hero who had been erased from her own country's history. Her grave at Seishoji Temple is modest, a simple stone pillar that blends in with the others, giving little hint of the monumental life it represents. Tatsu Takayama's story is a powerful lesson in quiet heroism. It shows us that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it's a steady, determined whisper that refuses to be silenced. Her bravery wasn't for fame or recognition, it was for her faith, for her spirit, and for the simple, profound belief that she belonged on that summit. Her story inspires us to look for the hidden heroes in our own histories and to keep sharing their stories so they are never forgotten again. Her bravery changed history quietly. Let's honor it by telling it loudly today. Thanks for watching. If this story moved you, please share it and subscribe for more stories of forgotten pioneers who changed the world.